Welcome back, Thiru. So exciting to have a very knowledgeable, very wise global business consultant with us for this podcast series. And today what we want to talk about is how do you measure your TAM, right? Which was the targetable addressable market. Big mouthful, right? And then we also, Thiru is also going to give us some examples of people who mastered that. But first, Raj, you've got a question. Yeah? What is it?
See, I'm wondering because whenever I'm new in business or either I'm running a business for from 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, I have also done the same mistake in my past. So I'm wondering and very curious for this question from Thiru. Like, what is the right audience and how and why it is very important, and what is the importance of mapping and research work so we can our time and we can take right direction to achieve our goal in a very appropriate and calculate and very less risk calculative risk way. So yes, this is
Thank you. And Thiru, excuse me, before you respond here, I think what we're saying here, what Raj and I are saying is that to the people who are viewing this, we can save you time. Like it took me years to figure out, and I'm still figuring it out, So shorten the learning curve, get the business up and running much faster by really addressing the TAM. So Thiru, over to you.
Thank you very much. And it's a great way to start this part of the discussion. Every enterprise, every company need to have a solution that they are offering to the market, which is addressing a given problem, or there is a gap in something which they want to address, which is what the service provider or the product company is trying to kind of deliver and then address that. So assuming that the enterprise or the entrepreneur knows as to what that particular product or a service that he is taking to the market is, he now needs to assess the size of the market. How is he going to assess this? There are several approaches that are possible. The top-down approach is kind of doing a study of related literature type, look at the industry reports, look at various other assessments that have been done by governmental agencies, etc., and then pull the data together to assess what is the size of this market, of which then they kind of deduce as to how many of those organizations that I can deliver whatever product or a service that I have, and then arrive at some number. This number generally is not very accurate. It is kind of more directional in nature. It's kind of, gross in terms of its size, etc. As against that, if we look at the other approach, which is a bottoms-up approach, where you either engage an agency to do a market research or do it by yourself, wherein you actually directly contact such potential organizations who can make use of a product or a service, and then go one after another, maybe identify a sample and then find out as to where this requirement for your product or service lies and how many such units of that they will buy. Based on that sample survey that has been done, then kind of extrapolate to the overall market. Thereby, you get a more accurate size of the market for your own product or a service. There is also a third approach, which is called the value-based approach, which is little difficult to determine at the beginning, because this value-based approach requires you to actually ascertain as to what the value the customer has kind of gotten by using your product or a service. So we will have to wait. We will have to probably get, significant sample size of organizations to really try out our product or a service, and then also measure that the difference that has happened to them in terms of the additional value they derived out of this. Based on that, then we can now say, well, this is the size of my market because all my existing customers are already getting so much value out of this. If I, extend from this to the overall market, which is, so many thousands of organizations, so this is going to be the total value that I can create, etc. Like the simplest one, which most companies take at this point in time, is the top-down approach, because that doesn't require much of an investment or time. They can just read some available reports and then put some data together and then arrive at some, kind of models and then say, okay, this is the size of the market. Betska?
Well, I was just thinking, Thiru, that if of these three approaches, the bottoms up one, where you engage an agency, you contact companies directly. And we've actually done this in the past in my own company, because not only do you get the market research, but you get potential customers, because you're telling them about through the survey method, you're getting potential customers. They're getting interested. They're asking you more questions.
Absolutely.
Right?
Provided you have the time, and then provided, your investors and the stakeholders are willing to wait, let's say for 3 months, 6 months, whatever time it is going to take, that's the best approach. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So give us some examples of companies who have measured TAM and who've been successful. Yeah.
Yeah, recently I was consulting with a company which is offering solutions for industrial safety, and they are an early stage company. They have just few customers who have already tried this out, and then the concept is proven, meaning the solution really works. Now, in order for them to assess the market, so the promoters of the company came up with their own requirement, saying that while my product is applicable to any industry anywhere in the world, I don't have the wherewithal, I don't have the resources. So let me restrict myself to India. So the first thing is defining the geography. So they decided it's going to be India. Within India, he said, well, even within India, I don't have, ability to go all over the country. So let me just focus on my state called Karnataka. And within Karnataka, then subsequently he said, I want to just focus only on the industries in and around Bangalore. So this is how they were able to kind of, clearly define the geography side of the business. Then he said, in terms of the industry, there are so many industries that can make use of my industrial safety solution, but I want to only focus on manufacturing industry. So that is another parameter by which now you kind of keep on, reducing the size of the market to a very specific focused market that you want to focus on. And the third one they came up with is, no, I don't want to go all sizes of the company. I want to define the size of the company as 500 employees and more. Because any company which is less than 500 employees, too small an operation, they may or may not necessarily benefit by my solution. So 500 employees. So with that kind of, these kind of filters, they arrived at 200 companies in Bangalore alone who fit into these kind of definitions. For 200 companies, assuming on an average of $50,000 is the solution that this company is planning to offer, they were able to compute 200 by 50,000, arrived at $10 million as the total addressable market in a given 1 year's time. So this is how the definition of the TAM happens. And using this, then obviously they put together a business plan. They have gone to the bank. They went to certain other agencies to get their funds. So they are already on their way towards executing this. Now, as I previously said in our other call, TAM is not all. $10 million is not what he is trying to achieve. He is only focusing on $1.5 million, which is 15% of the market.
Right.
So that is the sum that we were talking about in our previous call.
Right. Right. Wow. That is an amazing story, because one little startup company, and they have filtered it down to 200 companies in Bangalore, right? And look at the potential. I mean, that's huge. Correct.
Absolutely. That is what I'm assuming, that they are able to deliver the business plan they have for the current year. They themselves will also be very confident of now reaching out to a larger size of the market, larger size of the pie, which itself is another 85% of the market. Assuming that, there are also other players, at least there would be another 20-30% of additional market that is available for them in the next year. This is just only Bangalore. And within Bangalore also, one given industry, as I mentioned, probably there are another 10, 12 different industries they can go into. So that's how they can keep on expanding subsequently.
It just makes so much sense, right? To focus. What you're talking about here is really, in other podcasts, we talk about low-hanging fruit, taking the low-hanging fruit. But in this particular, low-hanging fruit means people that you know, right? But in this case, it's people who could really use your solution, and they're all in one target area. Imagine the learning. So you know what's going to happen, Raj and Thiru? People listening to this podcast are all going to want to move to India because the market is so huge. Wow. Thank you both for being here today. God bless you both.
Can anybody out there hear me? Hear me?